Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. These are the weeks that were, are, and shall be. Well, I have been a busy fellow so far this summer. I have jumped into writing another book. This is a prequel to the Adan trilogy, and I am having a good time with this. Of course, I'm not making as much progress as I want, but that is usually the case in life, I think. But I am having a good time, and it is so great to be back in Jormungand and crafting a story, and I just love being in that place. Having a story coming out of me in that creative process, it's really a happy place for me. So I am enjoying that very much, but it is, of course, taking a good amount of my time. However, I am still busy here on YouTube and with my reading and everything else, so I'll be talking about all of that. I want to thank everybody who has purchased the audiobooks to the Adan trilogy. The Adan trilogy is now complete. All 3 books are available as audiobooks, narrated by the incredible Alan from the Library of Alexandria. He just does a magnificent job on all 3, but he gets better with each book. Return to Adan just blew me away with his performance. So I want to thank people who have purchased that and who have reviewed the audiobooks as well, whether it be on Audible, on Goodreads, or wherever. It means a great deal to me that you would take the time to share your thoughts on the experience of the story and, in the case of the audiobook, your experience of the performance, which has been getting stellar ratings, by the way, so it is definitely something to check out. And so, yes, thank you for helping me to spread the word about it. Also, Alan will be narrating While Darkness Gathers. I will have more news about that as we progress through the summer, but I'm very excited that he is going to be continuing for all things Adan as the voice of the Adan series. I think he's done just a tremendous job, and I do hope that other people will notice him as a result of this project, and that he will have more projects because he has such a talent and a real dedication to doing a great job. All right, so I want to talk about a few there's some big things going on here, all right? Let's begin with One Piece, actually. I want to make an announcement about my videos for One Piece. Now, I've been doing these solo, for the most part, my thoughts on One Piece as I get through each saga or chunk of a saga, depending on how long they are. And I've loved those, and I've loved the engagement on those. They take a lot of effort, though. They take a lot of time, and at this point, I also feel like I'm ready to be engaging with more people. I have had some really wonderful discussions with some lovely people, friends of mine, who are also One Piece readers. But I really feel that it's time for me to show some gratitude to the many people who have been following me through this journey. And I would like to try, this is something I've been thinking about for a while, this has been stirring in my mind, the idea of doing live streams instead of just me talking to the camera like I'm doing right now, although I'm imagining all of you as I talk, but I'm more or less talking to a camera. But I have been doing more live streams lately, and I think it's fun to engage with people. And you One Piece fans have been so supportive and so wonderful that I just want to share this with you guys. And I thought, why not I was going to do this after I became current. I was going to do live streams. That was my idea. And I thought to myself, why don't I just do it now? Why don't I start now? So for Wano Act 3, I'm going to do a live stream. And it's going to be on June 19, that's a Friday, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I may change that up in the future. I know there are people in different parts of the world where that time won't work very well. So I may do a future one, let's say earlier in the day, maybe on a Saturday or something. But for now, the first one is going to be on Wano Act 3, and it's going to be on Friday, June 19 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to be joined by my good friend Jonathan from JP Laugh Tales. I've had him on the channel before to talk about One Piece. He's a wonderful person. He's been extremely supportive, and he's very knowledgeable about the series and loves it dearly. And he's just a wonderful person. So, he's going to join me, and we're going to do a live stream. We're going to talk about Wano Act 3. We're going to keep it, we're going to start off just bang with spoilers for Wano. Of course, I'm hoping that no one will come in there and spoil anything after Wano. But I'm getting close to the end. I figured that let's just do it. Let's do the live streams, because I am very grateful to all the people who have watched the videos, who have given me great feedback, have been very helpful, have been guiding me through this journey. So this is my way of saying thank you to all of you by sharing this experience, maybe in a more direct way. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to try it anyway, and we'll see if it works out really well. I'll do it for the next, what is it called? The next one, Egghead, I think, or something like that. And then we get to the one that I think is I'm going to really be very interested in, because there's a lot of Viking influence in the current saga that is going on. So yeah, so that's my plan, is live streams from here on out for One Piece. So I hope you One Piece people will be joining me for that. And on what I've been doing on the channel, well, I've been having a lot of fun, doing a lot of reading. I did host I felt a very wonderful discussion with a wonderful person, my friend P.L. Stewart. We had a great time chatting about how authors can find readers by giving back to their communities. And this is something that I think is maybe a difficult thing for a lot of people who want to write books. The idea that, okay, I'm going to spend years working on my craft. I'm going to write a great story. I'm going to edit the heck out of it. I'm going to hire an editor. I'm going to, just pound out that great story. And that's wonderful. But then what? How do you get that story out there? How do you get people to know about your story? And that's where networking, if you want to call it that, or just becoming part of different communities. And how can you contribute to those communities and be someone that people will want to support? So that was a great discussion with a person who's really, I think, a role model for that kind of behavior. The person who gives a lot to the community. P.L. Stewart is that person. He gives a lot to a lot of other authors and readers, and just a really great person. So that was, I really appreciated his wisdom in that discussion. He is, of course, the author of the Drowned Kingdom saga, a series that I am in the midst of and enjoying very much. More about that later. I also had a chat with Adrian Gibson, the author of Mushroom Blues and the upcoming A Murder Most Fungal. So you can hear the mushroom theme going on there. And I had a great time chatting with Adrian, another really wonderful person who does a lot to support the community. He's involved in all kinds of things. He is now working for Grimdark Magazine, and he is a part of the family over at FanFi Addict, and he does a lot of podcasting, and just a really wonderful person. And so it was my pleasure. I actually enjoyed Mushroom Blues a lot. That's a book that I read as a judge for SPFBO when it was one of the finalists, and it actually tied for first place, and it was a really great read. I had a lot of praise for that. I have actually a dedicated review of Mushroom Blues on the channel. So that was a lot of fun. And I had a chat with another author, James Doolin, who is the author of the Malitu series, which begins with No Heart for a Thief. And I listened to that on audiobook, which was a great experience. The narrator for No Heart to a Thief did a tremendous job. That was another great performance. And we talked about empires in fantasy. And that is a topic that was very relevant to No Heart for a Thief and the Malitu series in general. It's a series that begins with an occupied place, a country, a place where people are suffering under the oppression of occupiers. And so it was a great topic to talk with James about. But there are a lot of examples in fantasy, of course, of aggressive, acquisitive empires that use destructive and terrible, horrifying means to subdue people and exploit them. So we had a really interesting chat about that, and I think that's there's a reason why we write about these things in fantasy. Obviously, there's a lot of conflict involved in that, but I think it also allows us in a relatively safe space to explore the nuances, the consequences of empires and what they do to people, what they do to not just the people that they oppress, but also what the oppressors do to themselves. What do they become in the process of doing that? So it was a very interesting discussion. And this was, by the way, this is an example of the kind of thing I'm trying to do more on the channel, which is to highlight self-published or indie authors. And I think it's working pretty well. In other words, I'm not just doing a straight-up review of a book. I am having a discussion with the author about a topic of broader interest. So this is part of that series that I'm doing, and I'm pretty happy with how that is going, that we're getting some really good engagement with these videos. because as you all know, with an indie book, it can be very difficult to get the word out. I know from personal experience, it is not the easiest thing to be your own marketer. So it is a pleasure for me to do my best to help the few authors that I can on the channel. And I had a wonderful time hosting a live stream discussion of Brothers of the Wind. And this is the group that I've been reading The Last King of Austenard with. This is the sequel series to Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn by Tad Williams, who has become really in the last year for me a real top favorite author. So if I ever have the guts, which I probably won't, but if I ever have the guts to make another top 10 video, Tad Williams is going to be in it for sure. I've just loved my reread last year of Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. And this year, Last King of Austenard is just blowing me away. It's better than Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. It needs to be shouted about a whole lot more because this is top-tier fantasy. The Last King of Austenard series is just tremendous stuff. It's even better than Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. And I've said it before, but maybe some people haven't heard me say this, but for me, everyone, or not everyone, maybe, but a lot of people know that George R.R. Martin, in writing A Song of Ice and Fire, was very much inspired by Tad Williams in Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. And it feels like in The Last King of Austenard that Tad Williams has been influenced by George R.R. Martin in turn, and that it gets a little more like A Song of Ice and Fire in some ways. It's grittier. It is a bit darker in some ways, but also just I find it to be a more adult not that Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn is YA or something like that, but it feels more serious in tone somehow to me. But it's just all great writing. Tad Williams is an immensely talented author in many ways. And I had a great time chatting with Nikhil and Ben. Unfortunately, Andy was unable at the last minute to make that discussion, but he's okay. He will be joining us as we resume the series with, let's see, what's up next? Into the Narrow Dark. Into the Narrow Dark is next up in The Last King of Austenard. And so, what have I been reading? Well, let me tell you, on audio, I've been having a blast with my audiobooks. I listened to Kingdoms of Death, which is the fourth book in the Sun Eater series by Christopher Rocchio. And that discussion series has been a ton of fun. And we are going to be having our discussion on Kingdoms of Death. It's going to be a live stream, so be on the lookout for that. But it will be on, June 12 at 7:30 p.m. June 12, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the discussion of Kingdoms of Death. And that is a discussion that'll be with the usual crew. That's the author, Janny Wirtz, the incredible, talented, amazing Janny Wirtz, and John from Talking Story, and Jacob from Talking Story, the father-son duo that we all love, and Dylan from Spaced Out Reads. Dylan has been an important person for me in this series. He's the one who really gave me that final push to go ahead and just dive into Sun Eater, and it's been so wonderful having Dylan participate in these discussions. Also, a little bit of an announcement here. I'm going to be chatting with Christopher Rocchio. This is something I'm very excited about for Dear Dr. Fantasy. And actually, I think I'll share my thumbnail. Even though the video's not out, I'm just so tickled by this thumbnail that I made with my cheapo, actually free apps because I'm too cheap to buy the expensive thing. And I refuse to use AI for anything at all. So here's my thumbnail of Christopher Rocchio for Dear Dr. Fantasy. And I think it's appropriate. There's Emperor Christopher there. I guess we could call him that. But hopefully that will be a wonderful time. I'm really excited to be chatting with Christopher Rocchio because I've been enjoying the Sun Eater series so much. Much, much more than I even thought I would. And everyone was telling me that I was going to love it. And, well, everyone was right. Oh, more audiobook stuff. So I have been listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl. I listened to the second and third books. Let's see if I can remember those. Carl's Doomsday Scenario and the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. I think those are the titles. And just having a good time laughing. I am enjoying Dungeon Crawler Carl. I cannot say that I am a lit RPG fan. The parts of Dungeon Crawler Carl where it gets very lit RPG-y are the parts that I kind of zone out on a little bit. But I do love the interactions between Carl and Donut and Mongo and the rest, and it's a fun time. It's a fun time for me. It is definitely when I listen to DCC, I am laughing and having a good time. So that's been great. I also listened to the 9th book in the Dresden Files, White Knight. It has been taking me a long time to get through the Dresden Files, and that's partly because I have been basically treating the books as a kind of palate cleanser type thing, and I have no regrets about that necessarily. But I feel like I just haven't gotten that momentum that a lot of people describe who become hardcore Dresden Files fans, where they just have to keep reading one book after another. That has not happened for me, and it didn't happen with book 9 either. I enjoyed it. It was fun, and James Marsters does a really brilliant job as the audiobook narrator. Do highly recommend. I'm going to finish the series via audiobook, actually. I read the physical book for the first 7, started listening to the audiobook on 8, and now I've listened to 9 as well. And it was fun. And White Knight was fun. It was a good time. But I'm not yet a hardcore cheerleader for the Dresden Files. But it's fun. I'll still probably use it. Although I think I will get through the series faster now that I'm listening to it via audiobook. But so yeah, that's been going on. For the physical books, so I finished reading Lord and King. This is the 3rd book in P.L. Stewart's The Drowned Kingdom Saga. And I will be in a discussion of this book over on Zachary Shea's channel called Zachary Shea. And we'll be joined there by some excellent people to discuss Lord and King on June 7 at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I think it's going to be a live stream. So 1 p.m. Eastern Time on June 7 to continue. And I've been impressed. Each book really in this series gets better and better. The epic scale, the exploration of the protagonist, who's a deeply flawed character. But there are a lot of moments in here where I found myself really sympathizing with the Othran, the main character, and moments where I think maybe he's not so bad, but I could see him also making some very stupid decisions. So we'll see what Othran does. But I am so looking forward to chatting with my friends about Lord and King. And I also finished Destiny's Doom by Von Roycroft. This is the 3rd book in the Sundered Nation trilogy. So that means I finished an indie series, and that makes me very happy. I want to support my indie author friends, and I think the best way to do that is to finish their series. I try to read as many of them as I can, but also, it feels good when somebody reads your entire trilogy, and not just the first book, right? So I had a great time. Another author who gets, for me, even better with each book, and the scope opens up from book 1 to 2 to 3 in this 100 Nation trilogy, and talk about another, and they're very different authors in many ways. Von Roycroft, he's basically, this is a riff on the Goths meet the Romans. Really fascinating period in history. But he also makes it a really an amazing character study. Like the main character is, it's a tragic figure in many ways. On the scale of like a Shakespearean play, like Othello or something, where this is a character where you're kind of rooting for him, and then he makes some bad decisions and does some bad things, and you think, okay, and you kind of want to punch him in the head, but also, after making certain decisions, how far can you go before you're beyond redemption, and what do you have to do to redeem yourself, or once you set certain things in motion, are you basically going to be along for the ride, no matter what, So it was a great story. It's a story of love and dissolution and sorrow and triumph, but also the great part about it is there's hope in the story as well, especially for the next generation. And speaking of the next generation, I think Vaughn is working on the sequel series to this, so that'll definitely be something I'm going to pick up. And I will be having a chat with Vaughn as well on the channel about magic and whether or not magic is actually even necessary for fantasy. And what exactly qualifies as magic. So that's going to be, I think, a really interesting discussion. And we'll talk about other books as well, but the Thunder Nation trilogy really fits into that discussion. And my current read is actually Sailing to Sarantium. Yes, we are back for the GGGKR, the great Guy Gavriel K read. And this discussion is imminent. I will be getting back together with my partner in crime, Evan, from The Nerd Writer. And we're going to be joined by a couple of wonderful individuals. I don't know, should I tell you or should I surprise you? I don't know. Maybe I should surprise you. But I'm excited for this discussion because I think we're going to have a lively one on Sailing to Sarantium. This is the first part of the Sarantine Mosaic, and we'll be having this mid-month. We'll be recording it actually, I think it's the 13th or so, but it'll come out a couple days after that, maybe 2 or 3 days after the 13th, so around the 16th or so. But I am so excited. I'm loving this. I've got about 100 pages left in Sailing to Sarantium. And I continue to be enamored with Guy Gavriel K's writing. I was talking earlier about how much Tad Williams has made an impression on me. Same here, maybe even more so actually with Guy Gavriel K. I mean, this guy can write. There's such beauty in his words and in his vision. I just find it so elevating and so beautiful, and sometimes melancholy as well. But I really just I feel like I'm spoiled rotten this year with some great reads. So just so everyone knows, if you're following along with the GGGKR, we are now a month behind what I had initially envisioned, and I kind of thought we would probably have that happen. It's just scheduling things and whatnot. But we'll get through it. We will get through all 16 books. This is number 7, by the way. So we are almost at the halfway point. And once we finish the Sarantine Mosaic, we will be. After that, I'm going to be picking up The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. And I'm very much looking forward to this. I did read his other book, what was that called? The Vanished Birds. And I think of the Quilluminati, because it was a Quilluminati read. Of the Quilluminati, I was definitely the most positive on the Vanished Birds. But I'm told that this is one that really does push boundaries, that is very experimental. And I'm definitely up for that. I'm looking forward to it very much. So yeah, let's see. And I'm going to be in a discussion that I think Anita Gade is going to be the one hosting the discussion. But of course, Evie's going to be there and a couple other wonderful people. So that is going to be great. And this discussion will be happening on June 14, I believe. I forget the exact time. Oh, now I feel terrible. I'll of course, make an announcement as we approach that. But I think the 14th is when we will be discussing this on Anita's channel. And I'm actually not sure if it's a live stream anyway, or if she's going to be recording it just on that day. But after that, speaking of the Quilluminati, we're going to be reading The Forever War. Actually, I think my 3 brethren in the Quilluminati have already finished, or they're pretty darn close to it. So I'm last. I'm frequently last in these buddy reads. I don't know what that says about me, but yes, The Forever War. This is Mike's pick, and we'll be discussing it on his channel. We do not have a date set yet for the discussion, but I think it will be happening in June, hopefully later in June, because I haven't read it yet. But I'll get there, and I'll let everybody know. I'll shout when I know when the date is. And then I will be picking up King of the Forgotten Darkness. This is by my friend Eric Goodwin, who runs the channel The Imaginarium. He's been here on my channel a couple times. I've been over at his channel a couple times. Brilliant fellow. He knows a lot. In fact, he is a psychiatrist, so he ought to know a lot about the human mind and how it works. And I have heard that King of the Forgotten Darkness, which is part of the series A Raven's Tale, I believe that's the series name. It is a really compelling portrayal of PTSD and also how one can deal with PTSD. That is what I've heard about this. And of course, it is fantasy, a portal fantasy of a sort. I think there are dual worlds in this, from what Eric has told me. So you've got a world more or less like ours, and then you have a fantasy world. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I think, based on my interactions with Eric, I think this is going to be a great read. King of the Forgotten Darkness. So that's all I'm gonna talk about for now, because I have other books that will fill up my year. I could keep going on and on, but that's the near future, and lots of stuff upcoming here. I've got the One Piece live stream on June 19. And got the Lord and King discussion over on Zachary Shea's channel. And there's, another one I didn't mention yet, but I listened on audiobook even before the ones I was talking about. The third book in the Hybrid Helix series, Blood Reunion by J.C.M. Byrne. How could I forget? Because I'm having a discussion on it over on Jared's channel, The Fantasy Thinker. And we'll be joined actually by the author, J.C.M. Byrne, or Joe, as I like to call him. And I've had him on the channel a couple times as well. Wonderful person. I love his humor. That is one of the hallmarks, really, of the Hybrid Helix series. But it's a great sci-fi, comic book inspired. He's not afraid to push the genre boundaries at all. I've had a blast with Hybrid Helix. And I'm excited to chat with the two of them about book 3 and probably lots of other things as well over at The Fantasy Thinker. I'm not, again, sure if this is going to be a live stream or not, but we're going to be chatting at 3 o'clock on June 7th. So I have 2 discussions on June 7th. They might both be live streams, so yeah. But yeah, that's going to be on The Fantasy Thinker. And of course, there's the DDF with Christopher Rocchio I mentioned. And I'm going to be having a discussion with my dear friend Brian, the Grand Poobah of the Quilluminati, about Bellworks Audio. So we have talked about this before. This is something that he did a trial run, as it were, trying to see if it would work via Kickstarter. And there were just too many road bumps in the way to trying to do it by Kickstarter. So he's doing it by another method, and I'm going to be chatting with Brian and talking all about how we're going to get Bellworks Audio off the ground. But I'm excited about this. This is something that I think Brian is really going to make it work, and I hope that we can get lots of support for him from our community. So be on the lookout for that discussion as well. But yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, for now, I guess I'm a busy guy, a happily busy guy, though. And I do appreciate all of you, all of your support, watching the videos, liking, subscribing, all that. I always forget to say that stuff, but I am very thankful to all of you for being here and for allowing me to be part of this community. It means the world to me. But that is it for me for now. Until next time.